So it's been a thrilling campaign so far in the Electric Ireland Fitzgibbon Cup, and the best is yet to come as we are now at the semi-final stage. Joining me to look forward to the semi-finals are IT Carlow manager DJ Carey, as well as Paul Flaherty from What's the Score. Lads, thanks a million.
How are you, Marissa?
DJ, I'm going to start with you because it feels like an awful long time ago since we were up in DCU at the final of the 2020 competition. And given last year's break, it must be just great for your guys to get back into action again.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's everything like this is very exciting, particularly when when you're back on the road and back into a semi-final. So I think last year we would have felt we were quite strong again because we would have most of the previous year's team, if not all of them. And then obviously with COVID, there was no Fitzgibbon, so we didn't really know what we were going to have until very much late in the year. So thank God we've got so far. We've struggled to hear what we got here.
Yeah, and I mean it's great, as you say, to have all matches back. The crowds are back now. There was a massive crowd at the quarterfinals during the week, and there seems to be a real buzz around the competition again.
Yeah, that's right, Marissa. And even last night I watched the DCU UL football match on YouTube. That live streaming shown games, it's absolutely brilliant. So the weather has been very good so far. We weren't able to field teams in the league competition, but I remember many years we won it 4 years in a row. But many nights it was absolutely lashing rain, wind, hail, everything. But so far so good with Fitzgibbon that most of the nights have been in pretty good weather with great crowds. And I was up in Galway, Waterford IT games, so it's great to have the crowds back.
Paul, coming to you as a Galway man, you must be looking forward to the other Fitzgibbon semi-final this week, which sees GMIT taking on NUIG. It's been, maybe GMIT are flying a bit under the radar. They were in a 3-team group, came out of that strongly, and they're coming up against a very strong NUIG team.
Yeah, it's great for Galway hurling that the two colleges are playing each other in the semi-final. I'm not sure when the last time they actually got to play each other, if they did get to play each other in the semi-final, so it's going to be very interesting. The two teams involved are very Galway, let's say, dominant. There's a lot in the NUI and GMIT teams. I think there's AJ Willis there from Tipperary on his corner forward for GMIT, and then Philip Hickey is corner forward for, and obviously Keane Lynch from Limerick as well with NUI. So it's mostly Galway, so it's a good sign. I'm sure Henry Shefflin is busy with the managers ringing him and all that good stuff. So like NUI, probably they had a tougher, they've been favoured since the start of the tournament, and they've had a harder group with wins over Mary I, UCC and UCD, so that none of them three colleges are easy to beat. And then they had just bet WIT last week in I think by 5 or 6 points. So they're in the semi-final and they'll be full of confidence. And while GMIT might have been in a group of 3, they topped it, and that they'll be very happy with that. I was actually at the Trinity College match, the first game, and they won by nearly 25 points. Unfortunately, Trinity were just didn't have the same talent that the GMIT lads have. So it's looking like it's going to be a good game between the two of them.
Yeah, definitely. And it's on in Pearse Stadium as well, so you're kind of guaranteed a big crowd at that one.
Yeah, it should be. I think there's rumours that it's Rag Week here in Galway as well, so I'm not sure will extra stewards have to be assessed to Pearse Stadium or not, but there should be a big crowd there and like a lot of people might take an hour or two off and work if they're working around Galway, and they might pop into Pearse Stadium because it's going to be, as GJ said, it's a great competition. Any college can kind of win on their day if they're prepared right, because it's hard to have, and I'm sure DJ knows, it's hard to have these lads training all the time because they're pulled in from so many different senior intercounty panels. So should be a good game.
DJ, coming back to you and looking at your campaign so far, like you haven't had an easy group either. You've had Maynooth, CU, and then you came up against UCC in your quarterfinal, and I'm sure there was flashbacks to 2020 in that match as well. But it must have been great to get across the line.
It was, Marissa, yeah, and we obviously had WRT in the first round. So, we've had and all close games. So I think 2 points over Waterford, 3 points over Maynooth, and then we drew with DCU. So UCC then we had 5 or 6 points over UCC in that one. So there was a little bit of bite, I suppose, in that one, and then a bit put out the fact that the game was played, 48 hours after all these guys were playing inter-county games. It was supposed to be on the Wednesday night. So there was a little bit of grudge, I suppose, between ourselves and Cork. Not that either of us were against each other on it, but the fact that the game was pushed back from a player welfare point of view, we felt it wasn't right.
Yeah. And looking ahead to your semi-final then, you have UL, who have been, again, they were in a 3-person group and have sailed through that group. I think they've scored 12 goals so far in this competition. So, they're in the Sigerson final as well, and they're going to be looking to make it a double, I suppose, of final appearances.
Yeah, look, we know the task that's ahead. Limerick hurling in general is phenomenal, but I know UL will not be built on all Limerick players. But Divide, my own son Mikey, went to UL. I know what vibe is down there all the time when it comes to sport and Gaelic games. So we know the task that's ahead of us. It's enormous. We know UL are very good. But I suppose at the end of the day, Marissa, you set out at the beginning of the year, first of all, to try and get out of the group that you're in, to top the group if possible, to have a home quarter-final. And then if you have a home quarter-final, you're obviously onto a semi-final. But, it doesn't actually matter who you meet because all the teams are absolutely top class. So it's UL that are the next ones. And if we have an ambition of winning a Fitzgibbon, we have to beat UL. It's not as if they're a minnow that should be playing in a semi-final. So we know the enormity of the task that's ahead of us. And please God, we'll be up for it on the night.
And a word on IT Carlow as well. I suppose it's always a special year when you get to host the finals. So I'm sure there's a great buzz around the college.
Yeah, there's a brilliant vibe because obviously I2 Carlow would be a very small college, and anything that would be going on in it would be well known in the town. Obviously, Carlow town would be a big town, so all these most of the students would be well used to socialising with each other. So the other night with the UCC match, it was a massive crowd at the game and plenty of excitement. So plenty of it around, yeah.
Who do you think your son will be supporting now in the match?
I don't know because he always loved going back to Limerick. It was his home for 4 years. So I'm not sure. I think it'll take a little bit of convincing because he wasn't a million miles off of winning the Fitzgibbon himself with UL. So I think these guys have a real loyalty to where to go to college. Yeah,
that's the beauty of it, all right. Well, look, we have 2 massive semi-finals to look forward to. It is NUIG against GMIT and IT Carlow versus UCC. Thanks a million to DJ and Paul for joining me today. And you can follow all the action over on the Punnet Arena social media channels, as well as, of course, Electric Ireland, and follow the First Class Rivals hashtag. For all your GA live scores, head on over to What's the Score.